Here we play against another very strong grandmaster from Iceland, Olafsson. He was probably the best ever from Iceland. I mean, the best player ever, a very strong grandmaster. And very good FIDE president later on. I mean, he was president of FIDE. Okay, bishop d3, castle, main variation from Nimzowitsch. Yeah. Knight f3, and here d5. Okay, castle, and d takes c4. Well, he could play also knight c6, is another line, of course. And instead of taking, okay.
Yes.
But all right, black takes there, and now b6. The idea is to play immediately bishop a6, if possible, trade a piece. But, okay, white is a little bit better all the time. We'll see. So now the main variation is here after a3. If he takes in c3, b takes c3, bishop a6, better for white, because white can simply take in a6, here, bishop takes c3, b takes c3, bishop e6, a6, pardon, bishop a6, bishop takes a6, knight takes a6, queen d3, and e4, better for white all the time. We attack the knight, queen c8, for instance, and e4. All right. E4.
E4.
E4. Coming, The
Yes.
threat is already bishop somewhere, f4 or g5. Clearly better for white. More space, some attacking chances, very pleasant for white in any case. All right. So that was the main line. If not, he could play like in our game. So he took in d4, took in b4, took in c3, queen takes, rook takes, b takes c3. All right. He played bishop b7 and proposed draw. If you look at the position, okay, small advantage for white, but not
Equal.
too much. It seems not too much. I mean, okay, black can hope to hold the position. The idea is to come later on somehow in some endgame. The endgame is very good for white with two bishops. The idea is to come in an endgame with two bishops against knight and bishop. There you can hope to have a small chance to win, or a good chance to win. We'll see. Yeah. So finally, he didn't play any wrong move, some bad move or something, but he's always a little bit worse, with black.
Because of the two bishops?
Two bishops, yes. White accepts the fact that you can trade rooks, both rooks and so. But we trade, and finally we have the two bishops against bishop and knight. Advantage for white, But you have to play, to show a very good technique with white, So, all right. Bishop back, little by little, Bishop back, knight e4. Now what to do? After knight e4, okay, rook takes, and knight e4. Now we propose to trade the knights, but if he trades the knights, now we take with the c pawn, and later on we have the c file for the moment, and the end game with the two bishops, Now the threat in some, and now is we have some, some possibility to attack the pawn from a6 also, So he has to be careful, So, okay, he took, I took, and b5, okay, what can he do? If not, he loses the pawn, All right, so now rook c1. We propose the endgame because now if he allows rook c7, it's too late, later on. If white comes to c7, it's very big advantage. So, okay, rook c8, we took, he took, f3. All right, now we have the endgame. We have the endgame. Little by little, white is always a little bit better, But we have to see how. First of all, g4, very good move because we have more space, We don't allow the knight to come in some position with the knight f5, and another idea is to play to immediately f5 to free himself with f5. But it's move by move all the time. It's much better for white, but you have to be patient little by little, and to play always with the two bishops, to keep the two bishops. If you trade one bishop, it's not good. It's not enough. All right, so f5, h3. Now what to do? King f7. Now after king f7, we played bishop d3. He played bishop there, and now bishop c3. No, the idea is to prepare the idea with the bishop e1, and finally the bishop comes through g3. You see, bishop in c3 doesn't do too much; he's not too active. But from g3, he's very active. I mean, coming into play, on the black diagonal. But it's move by move, little by little.
Because also you have to defend this.
Yeah, no, it's not under attack. The b4, it's very good. The b4 pawn keeps the 2 pawns from black. A6 and b5, they can't move. We control 2 pawns with 1 pawn.
Yeah.
So finally, we have advantage on the central squares and the 2 bishops. Small advantage, but okay, very pleasant for white. And he played bishop d5. After bishop d5, king g2 first. And what did he play? Bishop c4, okay. Now we put the bishop in c2, of course. We don't trade. Bishop d5. And now finally we have the chance to take in f5. Why? Because now we have the threat later on to push the pawn to e4, you see. Now we have a very nice position, If we have time to push with tempo e4, it's very pleasant for white, Very good chance to try to win. So now, unfortunately for him, he has to take with the pawn. And now we have the 2 bishops. Central squares they are for white, control. The king is better, and we have some threats,
So, why is the king better here?
Because you'll see later on, we try to come with our king. He is, not too far away. We can attack with our king. His king is only for defense. He can't threaten anything, So, okay, knight c4, the only move. King f4. Now we look. It's clearly better for white because we threaten immediately the pawn from f5 and to threaten immediately to push e4. It's enough to try to win, So, okay, knight d2, the only hope. And now I took in f5. Okay, he was happy. At least he could take in f3 only with the bishop, because if he took with the knight, he lost a piece. I mean, if he takes, knight takes there, e4, and very good chance to lose, immediately. Okay. Or even bishop g4, it was a very unpleasant move also, or bishop c8 and so on. Okay, knight, what did he play? Knight, bishop takes. Okay. And now he loses a pawn. This is the surprise. In any position, he loses the pawn, and any endgame is lost if he loses the pawn. You see? Bishop c6, okay. First of all, you put the bishop on the very good square on e5. Because if white takes immediately in a6, after knight e4 check is not clear. Because he attacks the bishop with check,
Yes.
Okay, but bishop e5. Bishop e5 is very strong, and now he loses the pawn from a6, in any position. Okay. And now we see the difference. Why is the white king better than his opponent, Because the king is very well posted in e2, and later on he can come to d3, attacking something and preparing the push, the final push. Like in our game. Finally, it will happen like this. So g5, the only counterplay. Bishop, finally we took a pawn. Okay. For the moment, the endgame is very good for white. We are winning all over the board, in any position. But we have to be careful until the end. So bishop d7, bishop b7. Now we attack the knight and we propose an endgame. Okay, so now, first of all, the bishop comes back. We have time to protecting h3, and we want finally to take the knight from h6, from f6, and we come finally with the 2 pawns, and this is decisive.
The one from here.
Yeah. So now I took in f6, he took, and e4. Now he could resign because nothing to do against the 2 central pawns. In any position in endgame, the 2 central pawns, like this, they win all over the board. Always, E4, D4 is, deadly in any endgame. Okay, so knight c4, okay. Bishop f3, preparing the final blow, So what did he
He
play?
resigned,
He
yes.
resigned. Now the threat is clear. Bishop g4 and e5 check, Nothing to do.
And the pawns cannot be stopped.
No, nothing to do. Now, later on, the king has time to come to e4, preparing the final push d5. In some positions, white can win this kind of position with one pawn, but 2 pawns is much too much. In some variations, it's enough to have only the d pawn and the king very well posted in c5, for instance. It's probably still winning, but with pawn up and those two central pawns, nothing to do. Even if you play against Kasparov and Karpov together, they can't save this. Yeah. So it's completely winning. So.
Yeah. All right.
Book, this is endgame from book. Even the best computer can't save such a position. It's too much. Decisive advantage. It's well known, of course, but it's book lesson.
You need to get here.
Yeah,
first.
you need to get, but I told you, a little bit of patience, little by little. Little by little.
Native.
But at this very high level, it's enough to have such an advantage.
Yeah. All right.
This was, for instance, a dream position for Petrosian, let's say. No counterplay at all for his opponent, and he's playing alone. Very happy.
Small increment.
Very happy. If he can have such a position, dream position for nothing, I mean, everybody very happy. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.